Hey Alana, how are you? Hope this is finding you well. So let's look at 117, 118. I've got this first problem. The weight of a body on or above the surface of the earth varies inversely with the square of the distance from the body to the center of the earth. Okay, so we can ignore most of those prepositional phrases. What we're looking for is the weight. Oh, let me get my pen. Looking for the weight of a body that varies inversely with the square of the distance from the body, right? So weight varies inversely with the square of the distance from the body to the center of the earth. This is our formula. If the body weighs 50,000 pounds at a distance of 6,000 miles, how much would it weigh 25,000 miles from the center of the earth? Okay, so first and foremost, this is going to be a big number when we get through calculating everything. So I'm going to first put it in scientific notation to make it easier. So this would be 5 times 10 to the 4. And then this would be 6 times 10 to the 3. And I'm going to square that, 6 times 10 to the 3, because the distance is squared. So 5 times 10 to the 4 is equal to k over 36 times 10 to the 6. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by 36 times 10 to the 6. I'm not going to worry about fixing that just yet. 36 times 10 to the 6. This would cancel. 5 times 36 is 180 times 10 to the 10, which is equal to k. We know we can't leave this 180, so we're going to move our decimal place 2 spaces. So 1.8 times 10, that was 2 spaces, so that'd be 12, is equal to k. Now we have our constant value. So now it says, how much would it weigh? We don't know what the weight is, so the weight is our variable we're looking for. Our constant is 1.8 times 10 to the 12th power. And that's 25,000 miles. That's our new distance. So I'm going to put 2.5 times 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to square that. So 2.5 times 10 to the 4. All right, so I'm going to multiply these together. 2.5 times 2.5. That's 6.25. And 4 and 4 is 8. So now I need to divide 1.8 by 6.25. That's going to be 0.288. So I take this up to the top, that subtracts. So that would be to the 4th power. But that's not in the right format. I need to move this back 1, so that's minus 1. 2.88 times 10 to the 3rd power. That would be your answer. Okay. Next one. The number of red marbles varied inversely. So red varied inversely. Inversely is division. As the square of blue marbles, so blue squared. That's our formula. When there were 4 reds, there were 20 blues. How many reds would there be if there were only 4 blues? So reds is our question for the next one. So reds would equal 4 blues, so that'd be 4 squared. So that's our second problem. We got to find out what k is. So 4 is equal to k. 20 times 20 is 400. So if I multiply both sides by 400, 1600 is the value of k, right? Because these cancel, and then that becomes 1600. So now I can put k in right here, 1600, and reds would equal 1600 divided by 16, so reds would equal 100. If there were only 4 blues, then there were 100 reds. Solve by completing the square. So first, let's make some room. X squared minus 5x equals 6. So we take the middle term, which is a negative 5, divide it by 2, and square it, which would equal 25 over 4. This is the term we add to both sides. All right, so in order to add this together, I've got to give this a denominator of 4. So that would be plus 24 over 4, right? If I change that to that. So I'm going to factor this and combine this. So when I factor it, I don't even have to think about it. It's just whatever's in here. And I square it. And then this would be 49 over 4. So if I unsquare both sides, that cancels. X minus 5 over 2 is equal to plus or minus 7 over 2, because that's the square of both of those. So now I add this to both sides. X is equal to 5 over 2 positive plus or minus 7 over 2. So that means that X is equal to either 5 over 2 plus 7 over 2, but it could also be 5 over 2 minus 7 over 2. So that would be 5 plus 7 is 6, and it's 12 divided by 2, which is 6. 5 minus 7 is a negative 2, divided by 2 would be a negative 1. So these are your possible roots. All right, we're going to solve this one by completing the square. We're going to do the same thing. You take, we're going to take this and add 4 to both sides. So now we have x squared plus 2x. We leave a space, and that's equal to positive 4. So we take the middle term, divide it by 2, which equals 1. We square that, still equals 1. So plus 1 plus 1. So I can easily factor this, x plus 1, because that's the value right here. I could write it like this, but at y, it's easier to do that. It's the same value, and this is 5. So unsquare everything, and this cancels. X plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5. So x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 5, because I subtracted 1 from both sides. This would be your answer. I'm going to solve this one by completing the square. Same thing. We add 8 to both sides to get rid of it on this side. So we have x squared plus 3x, a space, equals 8. We take the middle term, divide it by 2, square it. That's 9 over 4. That's what we add. Now if I want to combine these, I need to multiply this by 4. So that would be plus 32 over 4, which would still be 8. So I'm going to factor this, x plus 3 over 2 squared, and this would be 41 over 4. Unsquare both sides, this cancels. X plus 3 over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 41 over 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. So x would be equal to negative 3 over 2 plus or minus the square root of 41 over 2. That would be your answer. And you just have to type in this part. You don't have to type in x equals. So let's do this one. These, once you get in the rhythm, these are pretty easy. You might even want to try pausing the video and seeing if you can do it on your own at this point. It's the same process every single time. We move the single term, the constant, out to the right. We leave a little space in here. Divide the middle term by 2. That equals 1. We square that. Still 1. So we add that to both sides. Plus 1, plus 1. So now we can factor this. That's going to be x plus 1 squared, and that's going to be 6. Unsquare everything. X plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 6. X is equal to negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 6. Because we want to get x by itself, we subtracted 1 from both sides. All right, solve by completing the square. Same thing. We're going to add 7 to both sides. So we get x squared plus 4x. We leave a little space, equals 7. Take the middle term, divide it by 2. That equals 2. We square that. That's going to be 4. So we add 4 to both sides. Factor. Unsquare. Subtract or add, whichever it is. In this case, it's subtract. There's our answer. All right? Okay, now we're going to simplify. And in order to simplify, we're going to multiply. We don't like a radical in the bottom. So we're going to multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. So I'm going to do each term separately. 2 times square root of 2 times square root of 2. Well, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus square root of 2 times square root of 2. That's 2. 2 times square root of 2 is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. Divided by 2 equals 3. Find the equation of the line that passes through negative 2 and 5 and has a slope of negative 1/4. Okay, so they already gave us the slope. So y is equal to negative 1 over 4 x plus b. I'm going to take the points and put them in for x and y. So y is 5 and x is negative 2. Put that over 1 to make it a fraction, plus b. 5 is equal to 2 over 4 plus b. I can go ahead and reduce that to 1/2. And I can subtract that from both sides. If I subtract 1/2 from 5, first of all, I want to turn that into 10 over 2. 10 over 2 minus 1 would be 9 over 2. That's the value of b. So I go and put that in for b. So y is equal to negative 1 over 4 x plus 9 over 2. That would be your answer. All right, we're going to simplify this. This is 1. This is 1. This is 4. This is negative 4. Okay? Cube root of negative 64 would be negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 would equal negative 64. 2 times 2 is 4. Anything to the 0 is 1. Now I'm going to rewrite it. All right, I think I got everything. Yeah, okay. So now we can complete the operations inside of each paragraph, or parenthesis, not paragraph. Hello. Negative 4, positive 2, negative 1, negative 3, negative 4, All right. Now we have multiplication here, so let's do that first. So we've got -3, -4, minus -2, and then we've got -3, and this would be -4. All right, so -3. -4 minus a -2, that'd be +2. So it'd be -2 minus -7. So -3 times -2 is a +6. Minus a -7 would be +7, would equal 13. All right, last one. Find the area of this figure. Dimensions are in centimeters. So the first thing I see is we've got to break it down into shapes. So I'm going to break this into a triangle here. And if this is 10, then this has to be 10. And if this radius is 5, then this radius is 5. And this radius is 5. 5 and 5 is 10. So this has to be 10. So if this is 10, then this is 10. So now I can do my triangle. So my triangle is 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters divided by 2. So that's 100 divided by 2. That's 50 centimeters square for the triangle. Now I can do, this is actually a square because it's 10 by 10. I'm going to do the whole thing. So the square is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, which is 100 centimeters square. But now we've got to take out this half circle. We've got to subtract that. So we're going to subtract a half circle. So I know that a circle is pi r squared, so pi, and then 20, I'm getting ahead of myself. 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. And it's a half circle, so we're going to divide that by 2. 5 times 5 is 25 times pi divided by 2 centimeters square. So I'm going to add these two together and then subtract this one. So 50 and 100, that's 150 plus, or actually not plus, sorry, we're subtracting. So minus 25 pi over 2, and all of that is centimeters square. That's your answer. All right, and I think the way we did that in the answer was just to do it all in the same box. So 150 minus fraction, 25 pi over 2, get out of the fraction, close the parenthesis, and then CM exponent of 2, and then get out of the math box, the special characters box, and this first parenthesis should pop up automatically. But I think that's how we typed it in. And that's all of the problems that you had. We did all of those in less than 20 minutes. How about that? All right, I will see you on Thursday, Sweet Girl. If you have any more, let me know.